A 150-pound Great Dane named Blue refused to leave a one-year-old boy's side. Not for a meal, not for a nap, not even for 5 seconds. When this family first brought him home, everyone said the exact same thing. Get rid of that dog before the baby gets hurt. A 150-pound dog the size of a small horse living in the same house as a crawling infant? The neighbors called it an accident waiting to happen. 51 different people told them to rehome him. 51. And then, on an ordinary afternoon, in a quiet Texas living room, the dog everyone wanted gone did the one thing no human in that house was fast enough to do. This is the story of how the giant everyone feared became the only reason a little boy is still here today. Emily and Ethan Carter lived in a 4-bedroom house in South Lake, Texas, in the kind of neighborhood with wide lawns and quiet streets. Ethan traveled often for work, and Emily had wanted a dog her whole life, and so they adopted Blue as a clumsy 10-week-old puppy, a blue-gray Great Dane with paws too big for his legs and ears that flopped when he tripped over them. Back then, he weighed 14 pounds and could not figure out his own tail. By the time he turned 2, he weighed 150. He filled doorways. He rested his chin on the kitchen counter without stretching. And he was, by every single measure, the gentlest creature either of them had ever known. Then Emily got pregnant, and everything changed. Not with Blue, with everyone else. Her mother called first. "You cannot keep a dog that size around a newborn," she said. "He will knock the baby over without even meaning to." Her sister sent her articles about big dogs and infants. A neighbor named Rick, who had never once been friendly, suddenly had strong opinions about giant breeds in children. Even the pediatrician gave a careful little frown. The pressure built for 9 straight months, but Emily had watched Blue all through her pregnancy, the way he had started sleeping outside the empty nursery before there was even a baby inside it, and she made her decision. Blue stays. I see you're still here, but you haven't subscribed yet. After everything Blue is about to do, I really think you'll want to be part of this. Hit that subscribe button. It means more than you know. They brought Finn home from the hospital on a warm morning in March. Ethan carried the car seat through the front door with his heart pounding, not because of the baby, but because of the dog. Blue walked over slowly. He did not jump, he did not bark. He lowered his enormous head until his nose was barely an inch from the blanket, breathed in once, and then did something that made Emily cry on the spot. He lay down on the floor beside that car seat and let out a long, slow sigh, the sigh of a creature who had just been handed a job he intended to keep for the rest of his life. From that morning forward, Blue had exactly one purpose, and his name was Finn. Where the baby went, Blue went. When Emily carried Finn to the kitchen, 150 pounds of Great Dane padded along right behind her. When Finn napped, Blue lay across the nursery doorway like a gray boulder. When Finn cried at 2 in the morning, Blue was already standing at the crib before Emily's feet had even hit the cold floor. He did not just follow that baby, he orbited him. And here is what nobody tells you about a dog this devoted. He invents rules, and the whole family simply has to learn them. Rule 1, Finn did not eat alone, ever. Blue lay beside that high chair at every single meal, catching drop puffs out of the air with a delicacy that seemed impossible for a head that size. Emily stopped sweeping under the table entirely. There was nothing left to sweep. Rule 2, Blue had appointed himself the sworn enemy of the vacuum cleaner. The first time it powered on near Finn, 150 pounds of Great Dane stepped directly between the baby and the machine and stood there like a knight guarding a castle gate until someone turned it off. Rule 3, and this one made Ethan laugh until he wheezed, Blue could not stand a closed door between himself and the baby. If Emily took Finn into a room and shut the door, they would come out to find a giant gray dog lying against it with a look of deep personal betrayal on his face. The months passed, and Finn grew from a tiny bundle into a giggling, unsteady little person with a fistful of his dog's loose skin in each hand. He learned to pull himself up to standing by grabbing Blue's collar, and Blue would hold perfectly still, bracing himself, a living piece of furniture built for exactly one small boy. Finn's first clear word was not mama, it was not dada, it was boo. His baby version of Blue, shouted with pure joy every single morning the second he spotted him. But outside that house, the doubt never fully went away. On walks, parents scooped up their own children when they saw the giant gray dog rounding the corner. Rick still crossed to the other side of the street. A woman at the park once asked Emily to her face if she was reckless for keeping an animal that big near a baby who could barely walk. Emily had learned to just smile and keep walking, because she knew something all of them did not. She knew that the single safest place in all of Southlake was the patch of floor directly beneath that dog's watchful eyes. There was the night Finn spiked a fever, and Blue would not stop nosing at the crib and whining low in his chest until Emily woke and realized her son was burning up. There was the afternoon a delivery driver came through the side gate unannounced, and Blue simply moved his body between the stranger and the baby. No teeth, no sound, just a wall of gray muscle that made the man decide to leave the package and go. Some bonds are too rare to stay hidden, and this was one of them. Then came a quiet Sunday in October. Emily was folding laundry in the living room while Finn, now 15 months old and pulling up on everything in sight, cruised along the furniture a few feet away, with Blue lying nearby, watching him the way he always did. In the corner of that room stood a tall wooden dresser, the heavy old kind, the kind every family owns and never thinks twice about. Finn reached it, grabbed the bottom drawer handle to steady himself, and pulled. And in that instant, the whole thing began to tip. Furniture tip-overs crush a child in this country every 2 weeks, and it happens in silence and in seconds. A dresser or a bookshelf or a television coming down on a toddler too small to move out of the way. Emily looked up at the wrong moment and saw it already falling, saw her son directly beneath it, and knew with a mother's sick certainty that she was too far away and it was too late. The same dog the whole street had called an accident waiting to happen, the same 51 people had begged them to get rid of, the same 150-pound Great Dane every one of them had sworn would hurt that baby, was already moving. He crossed that room like the floor was on fire, and half a second before the dresser came down, 150 pounds of Great Dane hit Finn from the side, hooked the back of his little shirt in his teeth and dragged him clear, and the dresser slammed into the floor with a crash that shook the windows, onto the exact spot where a 15-month-old had been standing a heartbeat before. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Finn, sitting on the floor a safe distance away where the dog had flung him, started to cry, more startled than hurt, and Blue stood over him, chest heaving, and would not move from that spot. Emily reached them a second later, screaming and sobbing and pulling her son into her arms, running her hands over him, and Finn was fine. He was completely fine. The dresser had missed him by the length of a dog's lunge. The doctors will tell you that a piece of furniture that heavy, coming down on a child that small, does not leave room for a second chance. Emily knew, sitting on that floor with her whole body shaking, that if Blue had been napping in another room like a normal dog, if Blue had hesitated for even one heartbeat, the story of that Sunday afternoon would have ended in the worst way a story can end. Instead, it ended with a Great Dane getting an entire rotisserie chicken for dinner that night and a little boy who will never know how close he came. For weeks afterward, Emily could not walk past that corner without her knees going weak. Half a second. That was the entire distance between an ordinary lazy Sunday and the worst day of her life. And a dog had closed it on 4 legs. Word spread down the street the way news like that always does. The woman from the park who had called her reckless came by with a card. Rick, the neighbor who had crossed the street for 2 years, knocked on their door, looked down at Blue for a long moment, and said quietly, "I was wrong about him." Blue accepted a single pat from the man and then turned right back around to check on Finn. Today, Blue is 4 years old and 155 pounds. Finn is 2 now, and he still learns to climb the big stairs with one small hand wrapped tightly around that dog's collar. Blue still sleeps stretched across his doorway every single night. Every piece of furniture in that house is bolted to the wall now, but it does not matter because 155 pounds of Great Dane still positions himself between that little boy and anything that could ever hurt him, the way he has since the day Finn came home. He learned that lesson once, and he has no intention of ever learning it twice. And the 51 people who swore up and down that they should get rid of him have all gone very quiet, because here is the simple truth that every one of them missed. A dog is not dangerous because of his size or his breed or the enormous shape of him in a doorway. What makes a dog is who he decides to love and exactly what he is willing to do to keep them safe. Blue decided on the very first day that a tiny human wrapped in a blanket was his to protect, and not once, not ever did he change his mind. If you are thinking about bringing a big, powerful dog into a home with little ones, please do not listen to the fear. Learn the breed, train with patience, supervise with love, and understand that the right dog raised the right way is not a danger to your child. Sometimes he is the guardian angel you never even knew you needed. So let me ask you honestly, would you have trusted a 150-pound Great Dane alone with your baby, or would you have listened to those 51 people and let him go? Tell me in the comments.